What's up, Internet? Brandon Baldwin here with Gizmo Slip, the show where we unbox, review, and drop test the latest in technology. If it survives the drop test, we give it away to you guys, our viewers. If it doesn't, we destroy it spectacularly. Today is the Wednesday show. We will be reviewing the Google Nexus 7. Guys, we're really excited to review the Google Nexus 7, largely because it's a budget $200 tablet, but it has the specs of a higher priced $500 tablet. It's got a quad-core Tegra 3 processor with a 12-core GPU, which allows you to play games awesome, but we're going to get to that in a second. For our reviews, we review everything on a squib rating. So a squib is a piece of dynamite, and we use dynamite sometimes to blow up the devices that fail our drop test. So that's what we're going to rate it out of, 1 to 5, 5 being the best. So let's get into the review. Overall, we really like the build quality of the Google Nexus 7. It has an edgeless front display. It doesn't have a bezel, which makes it look very elegant. It makes it feel very good when you're using it. But the bezel sometimes helps add to the durability, so we'll have to see how it does in the drop test on Friday. Overall, it's got a rubberized back. It's got this kind of a plastic edge going around the screen. On the bottom, you can see it's got the headphone port, the USB as well. On the top right, you've got the power button and the volume rocker. On the front, you have the 1.2 megapixel webcam, and on the bottom left, you have the NFC chip, which can be used to hopefully pay for things, and also to transfer files and photos and videos using like beaming technology. One thing to keep in mind with this tablet is that it is a 7-inch screen, which is significantly smaller than a 10-inch screen. So you can, as you can see, I'm holding it with one hand, which is great for basically one hand holding it, one hand operating it, but it's not nearly as good for, say, media consumption. So overall, we like the build quality. We gave it a 5 out of 5 squib rating. Let's move on to screen quality. Overall, we like the screen quality of the Google Nexus 7. We gave it 4 out of 5 squibs. We knocked one squib off because it lacks the deep color and vibrant colors that you would expect on a 10-inch tablet such as the iPad. But when compared to other 7-inch tablets, it does have a higher pixel density, a higher resolution, for example, than the Kindle Fire and the Nook tablet. And so for that reason, we think it's a much better screen than the other 7-inch tablets. So let's move on to the next category. Now, this tablet comes with Android 4.1, which is the Jelly Bean version of Android. And it's the latest version, which is actually, I think, only available currently on this device, but it will soon be available on a whole bunch of other devices. The Android Jelly Bean 4.1, one of the biggest things is responsiveness. They've designed it so that it basically triple buffers everything so that your interface is super smooth. There's a drop-down menu here, and it allows you to actually interact with the notifications right there, and which you couldn't do this before. It's kind of, it's actually very similar to the Android on the phones. Allows you to pull down notifications and interact with them. One of the things that's really great about this 4.1 Jelly Bean is that it allows you to put up to 42 applications on one app screen, with 6 apps along the bottom and 36 apps throughout the middle. And then you can also mix widgets in, and I think widgets are just awesome. They're the way of the future. If there's one reason to use the Android interface, it's because of widgets. You can just do so much more with them. You can interact with them on a page-by-page basis, which I like much better than, for example, the iPad iOS interface. Overall, we gave Android 4.1 a 5 out of 5 squibs. We really liked it, and we definitely recommend it. The Google Nexus 7 comes with a 1.3 gigahertz quad-core Tegra 3 processor. It also comes with a 12-core GPU, which can be used to power all kinds of awesome games. Now, we did do the quadrant score, which benchmarks the graphics and CPU processing power of the device. With Jelly Bean 4.1, they did add a vertical sync VSync feature that basically sets the refresh rate to 60, and it prevents screen tearing, for example, when you're doing animations and stuff like that. And I think that may have potentially been limiting Quadrant, because actually when Quadrant was doing the 3D rendering, it actually locked in at 60 frames per second and never went higher than that. So I believe it may actually have limited the potential of the benchmark. So I don't think this benchmark is final, but it is still quite good, though it may not properly represent the true potential of the device. So we give it a 4.5, especially considering this is a 7-inch tablet. For all you gamers out there, the Google Nexus 7 is going to be quite good. That Tegra 3 NVIDIA GPU in here is going to basically play all the games that are on the current Android marketplace, and it'll also play them with all those little special effects like water effects and tapestry waving effects. It'll make them look better and it'll be more fun. Overall, we gave the gaming a 5 out of 5 squibs. The battery life is going to be quite good. You can expect around 9 hours depending on the brightness and what you're doing. But most likely, if you're web browsing, you're probably going to get 9 to 10 hours. If you're watching a movie, you'll probably get around 8. If you're going to be gaming, you'll probably also get around 8. But again, that's going to depend on whether you're using Wi-Fi, whether or not your brightness is set to max or to, for example, automatic brightness. That'll save you some battery life. Or low brightness, you'll probably maybe even get 11 or 12 hours of use out of it. We were impressed with the battery life overall, which is why we gave it a 4.5 squib rating. The app market is quite good, though it's not quite as good as the iTunes Store. The Android marketplace was taken over by Google and they have renamed it the Play Store. You'll probably have about 80% of the applications available in iTunes, also available in the Android marketplace. Right now it has over 600,000 applications. You'll always be able to find something to entertain you, don't worry. But it's still going to be somewhat limited. For example, if your friend gets the top-selling iPad application, you may not quite have it available on Android just yet, though probably a couple months down the road, the developers will make it for Android, and you'll also be able to get it on Android. So it's just something to keep in mind that you may not be able to get all the applications you want. Overall, we gave the app market a 4.5 squib rating. If you're looking for a 7-inch tablet or just a budget tablet, I believe this is your best choice. It has a higher resolution screen with all the processing power you might need. Now, can this replace an iPad 3? I think it can in many ways. It's a smaller form factor. It's not going to be as big a screen. It's not going to be as high a resolution. The battery life is also a little bit less. But overall, you can get just as much enjoyment out of the tablet as you can, for example, a full-size iPad or a Transformer Prime. One thing to keep in mind is that Amazon will probably be coming out with a new Kindle Fire in the near future, and there are also rumors of Apple coming out with an iPad mini, which will also be a 7-inch tablet. So something to keep in mind when purchasing this, there might be some good new versions of tablets coming out in the very near future. So you may not want to rush out and get this. You might want to wait a couple months and see what happens. We really like the Google Nexus 7. We gave it a 4.4 overall average squib rating. Something to keep in mind is that does not include the drop test durability rating, which we will be giving it on Friday in the drop test. Remember, if it survives, we're going to give this away. If it doesn't, we're going to be destroying it spectacularly. So you're definitely going to want to come back on Friday. Don't forget to subscribe, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and we'll see you guys Friday.
Gizmo Slip.